Kenosha County Legislative Update featuring the city, the county, the village of Pleasant Prairie, the village of Bristol, and the village of Summers. It should be very interesting. Normally we have these in a breakfast format. I hope some of you have breakfast in front of you at least. But we hope to return to in-person events in the near future as the guidelines allow us to. We have a great lineup of speakers, as I mentioned. We thank our sponsor, Clark Dietz, a great business in downtown Kenosha and throughout the Midwest. We do have Emily Basala, who's the Wisconsin South Area Manager, just to share a few words with us about Clark Dietz, and then to make the first introduction of our speaker, Mayor Antaramian. So Emily, it's all yours.
Thank you, Lou, for the introduction. We're very thrilled to be sponsoring this important legislative event, so thank you for that. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Emily Basala. I'm Clark Dietz's area manager for our Kenosha and Milwaukee offices. Clark Dietz has been located in Kenosha since the 90s, and we most recently found our home in the old bank building downtown. We've been there for, hard to believe, 5 years already, so we're loving being part of the community down there. We've recently had some leadership changes. Many of you know John Bolt, of course, he's a staple in this area. After almost 30 years with Clark Dietz, he officially retired last month. But our regional director, our Wisconsin regional director, Mustafa Amir, who is on this call, and myself, we're very excited to continue the important role of assisting and serving the community as we move forward. So please, if you have anything, feel free to reach out to us. And that's it. I just wanted to give a little background on Clark Dietz. It's now my pleasure and honor to introduce the mayor of this great city of Kenosha, John Antaramian.
I get the technology right. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. I thought what I would do is just briefly start with what's going on western end of the city, move to the east, and talk a little bit about what's going on that basis. And I think it's an exciting time for Kenosha. We have our issues and we're dealing with them. And I think as a community, I'm sorry? As a community, we need to be dealing with them, and we are doing so. So let's start with what's happening on the western end of the city. As everyone knows, the city has gone past the interstate. In the latest agreement 4 years ago, which included about 3,300 acres west of the I, we're anticipating continued growth in the western end. We've got some new infrastructure that's going on with sewer and water on the western end, which will help the development to occur. And we're looking at it from the perspective that we'll probably have about 2 to 2.5 million square feet of new manufacturing construction built in the city of Kenosha within this year. So it has been a continuous growth basis, which is a positive for what is happening with the community for jobs. And I'm sure as you talk to the rest of the leadership in Kenosha County, you're going to hear the same thing as to the number of people that are literally, number of companies moving into the area. So that's an exciting time. But I think the important aspect of what needs to be happening is the issue of dealing with how we're going to deal with the uptown and downtown areas. The uptown is the area right now that has a huge amount of activity going on at the present time. And I'll give the example of, you have the Kin neighborhood, which is the old Kreuser site. And that site right now is in the process of being cleaned. It's pretty much done. And we're now working with the state and federal governments for funding sources, along with the city and the private sector, in the development of an innovation center. And the concept of innovation center is basically a concept of entrepreneurship, job training, tech transfer. We have numerous partners in Madison, Wharf, and some other groups that we've been working with the UW system. All the local colleges, Parkside, Carthage, Gateway, and Herzing, all are participating on the site, along with a number of private companies that are participating at this point in time. And we are really looking forward to that being a major kickoff to changing our image and changing what we are in the neighborhoods, because the Kreuser site is surrounded by 6 major neighborhoods. We're looking at a tech type of school in the sense of Lakeview or that kind of concept on the site also. So along with that and the first incubator facility being built on that site, along with infrastructure, and that is what we're looking at for next year. At least that's the intent of what we're looking at. The Uptown itself, however, has a Gorman who has decided to make an investment in the Uptown and will be replacing a lot of the stores that were damaged during the fires that occurred in the Uptown area. And he is replacing those using new market tax credits. So it's a very inexpensive cost to bringing back a lot of the store owners into the neighborhood. And so that in itself will be a positive in the Uptown. And then housing above it. And the housing is what I classify mixed income housing. So you have 20% of it will be at 30% median income, 30% at 50, 30% at 60, and 20% at market rate. So we'll be adding housing in that Uptown area on 22nd Avenue. The city has purchased the Brown Bank, and last night the council shifted some funds into the Brown Bank so we can start the architectural and the design work. And we are going to be housing a number of the colleges and universities in that facility, along with a number of non-for-profits that we're going to be working with, that will be working with the neighborhood. We're also looking at the potential of an incubator facility in the Uptown area, and also a possible K-5 small library system to help deal with the ability for young people to have a place to go for help for school and after school activities. So that is another area that we are looking at. I won't take much time in the downtown because, to be very honest with you, you've all heard the downtown story. You know what's going on. We're moving forward on that. In fact, right now we have housing that is coming in from on other locations in the downtown. One was approved the other day, and there are 2 or 3 others that are being looked at the present time for more housing in the downtown area. With that, you've got a lot of speakers, so hopefully that gives you a rundown of what's going on in the city. We have started the process through, and this was started many months ago, working with the community, dealing with special committees, dealing with a number of the issues that we're dealing with in the community on race, and looking at next probably mental health, and then education and other areas that we are working on. So there's committees that have already been started to look at those issues. So with that, I'll turn it over to the next speaker. And I apologize, I don't know who the next speaker is. So
That's okay, Mayor Antaramian. It'll come to me for right now. And thank you for your comments. I do want to let everybody know that if we have time at the end of the everybody's presentation, we will entertain some questions, which you can put in the chat, and we'll ask the speakers whatever questions we can, depending on time. I hope I'm on. Yeah, I am off of mute, right? Everybody can hear me, I trust. So, okay, I just didn't see any reaction, and that was kind of weird. So our next speaker is the Village of Pleasant Prairie Administrator, Nathan Thiel. Nathan?
Thank you, Lou. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully everybody can see that. So one, it's a pleasure to be with you today. Just wanted to go through a couple of the highlights here in Pleasant Prairie. We'll go through some of the successes, and then also kind of talk about a few of the up and coming things that we look forward to. One thing that we notice here in Pleasant Prairie is that, some of these projects that we begin, it takes, several years for them to finally come to fruition. So as we go through this, we'll kind of walk through some of the major successes that have taken place, and then walk through how those really took. Several of these you already know about, but they've just taken that long. They've taken 2-3 years to actually come to fruition. So out in Prairie Highlands Corporate Park, we're excited about basically the 3 main features of the park. Aurora's opening happened this April. They had kind of a soft opening because of COVID, or back in 2020, April of 2020, they had a soft opening because of COVID-19. But they're doing well. Nexus construction took place in 2020. We're hoping that they'll receive their occupancy permit here shortly, and they're going to be serving to help assist with the vaccine rollout too as well. So we've been excited to hear about that. And then of course the Harbo groundbreaking. So just a couple of pictures. Here's the Aurora facility. If you haven't been out there on 165 and the interstate, it's a beautiful facility. Here's just a few shots of the interior. And then this is their TR, or their therapeutic rec interior. Nexus facility, this was their conceptual plan, and then this is what it looks like to date. This facility basically is about 82,000 square feet. When it's complete, we'll have about 70 full-time positions working here. Again, they're a pharmaceutical manufacturer. And this is just the first phase of their facility. It will probably have an additional 3 phases into the future. We're all aware of Harbo, that their groundbreaking took place last December 2020. But what we're really excited about is that the walls started going up. And if you haven't driven out there on the interstate, it's pretty incredible to watch the cranes and to see this facility start to take shape. This is going to be about 600,000 square feet, their first phase of their manufacturing. They'll have about 450 jobs. They also have a 162,000 square foot manufacturing facility also that will be a part of this first build. Other industrial developments, we had Fresenius Kabi construction in 2020. This facility is just about to be occupied. I know they're getting positions now. Kreuser construction is taking place on Highway H. We're very appreciative to the work that we were able to do with the county in getting them, recruiting them to the area. Cabo was very instrumental in that. And then also NOSCO, we are excited to welcome NOSCO and their headquarters to the village of Pleasant Prairie. So just a few photos. This is Fresenius Kabi. It's at the corner of ML and the interstate. It's a fairly large facility. This is the conceptual plan for Kreuser. And then this is the actual building to date. And so we're excited to welcome Kreuser. Kreuser, they're working right now on the interior, the mechanicals. This facility basically will, it's basically a new technology where they're able to pick your groceries for you and then they'll deliver them. And it's all computer automated, robots and so forth. It's pretty an incredible operation. And then this is the NOSCO facility, or the announcement opening this spring, and boasts about 300 jobs. They also touch the vaccinations. So it's neat to see the businesses that have been involved with the COVID-19 vaccination rollout here in Pleasant Prairie, from Pfizer to Nexus, and then even to NOSCO. They're marketing and kind of the packaging and branding for medical pharmaceuticals and so forth. Just a couple of quick trip developments, or sorry, not quick trip, I mean commercial developments, but first and foremost, Quick Trip will be doing another build out at Main Street Market, or near the Freighter Freighter building out on Highway 31 and 165. El Camino opened in August, and that was a success. We're glad that even though they opened up in COVID times, they've been doing very well. A couple of ribbon cuttings that we had, U-Break, iFix, and Sherman-Williams of last year. So Quick Trip facility, El Camino, this was the rendering. This is the final rendition. And then U-Break, iFix, and Sherman-Williams. Housing developments, Creekside Circle, that continues to go well. Vista Apartments completed their construction in 2020, And then we're now, that was about 140 units. We're now looking forward to about 41 single family units, breaking ground along Creekside Circle. Green Bay Trails continues to progress. They've completed their first phase. They're now looking to start a second phase. That's a condominium development on 165 and Highway 31. And then Summit at Bain Station is scheduled to kick off in 2021. And then we're excited also for a new development, Seasons at Riverview, a fiduciary development, and we'll walk through those. So this is Creekside Circle. So as you can see, this is where the apartments, the 140 apartments were located, and this is kind of the final outcome of that. And then there's 41 single family homes that are going to be going around in the completion of Creekside Circle, which we're excited for. This development went through several hands or several iterations, and really when the last recession in 2008 took place, only half of the development came to fruition. And we're grateful to Bear Development, who came in and basically they saw a vision and were able to complete the circle. This is just a picture of Green Bay Trails. Again, a beautiful condominium development on 165, just east of State Highway 31. This is the Summit at Bain Station. So originally this was to be apartments and single family housing. This is an interesting development because basically it's twin homes. And so we have 18 single family homes, but they're twin homes. So they're nine units in total. And so this is the product, or what the product will look like, but you basically have one garage on one side and then a garage on the other. And there's a dividing wall between the two residences. An interesting and new product for the village. And then Fiduciary came to us, started back in 2019. We've worked with them hand in hand. This is out by the Lynch dealership. It was the old chateau, or a second phase to the Chateau of Plains, and had been platted with several single family homes. And because of environmental issues and things of that nature, really restricted the ability to utilize this property. And we were grateful for Fiduciary, who basically came in and really put a lot of sweat and effort into working with the DNR and getting the rights and entitlements to be able to put together this development. And so their first phase is going to be these apartments, basically a total of 300 apartments, 15 buildings. And I have a few pictures to show you what it will look like. It's basically the Seasons at Riverview. This is going to be high-end market apartments here in the village, and we're looking forward to that development. We just actually approved their site and operational plan last evening. A part of this development is also going to have 2 commercial sites in the northeast and the northwest corner, as well as some senior living facilities. Those will come in later phases, but we're really grateful and really excited for this development, because it took a property that was basically undevelopable and turned it into a prime property within the village. And then finally, just some upcoming developments. Clearly, we continue to work on the Village Green Center. And as I said, it's always surprising. We always have hopes that we can get these things done in a year, right? Oftentimes developers are excited to get something complete in a year. But we've learned here in the village that going through things methodically and through a process, we have the best success. And so sometimes it just takes a little bit longer, but we're grateful for the progress that we are making on the Village Green Center. We've worked through a lot of the stormwater issues were the primary concern, and we hope to have some exciting things coming up. I also wish to highlight the We Energy site. And so this next, just to give you a couple of photos of the demo that's taking place at the We Energy's power plant, you can start to see the stack coming. And I really like this picture because the sun's setting and this property is going through kind of a renewal process. I have one other photo that's kind of fun, just to show you what the mechanism was to taking down the stack. It was kind of an interesting operation. But again, like I said, we look forward also to Prairie Highlands Corporate Park. We continue to get hits or interest in parcels there. And then also another highlight will be the Lakeview Roundabout. That's a project we're working on right now to help with traffic flow out by Premium Outlet Mall. And we'll continue to see some development out there. So Lou, that concludes my presentation, but again, we're looking forward to the exciting things happening here in Pleasant Prairie.
Thank you very much, Nathan. That was very interesting. And we look forward to seeing all those developments come to their conclusion and exciting times in the village. So our next speaker will be Village of Bristol President Mike Farrell. Mike, it's all yours.
Good morning, Lou, and thank
Good
you
morning.
for the invitation to join you. And good morning to the rest of you as well. Pleased to talk about what's going on in Bristol. Lou, you said earlier that things are hopping, and they certainly are in the village. You're finally starting to see some economic development, including buildings and business parks and the rest of it. We've got development going on now just west of I-94 along Highway U, south of Highway C and north of Highway Q. So get all those letters straight and you'll know exactly where we're doing some development. It's basically west of the Haribo building that's going up there. We're beginning to use our tax increment districts in that area. And the very first development that you see that's close to being finished is with a company called HSA. They've got a couple of their buildings built and one more on the way. In fact, the first one, which is about 450,000 square feet, is already got a tenant that has been announced, a company called Visual Pack, who's had a presence in Kenosha and Pleasant Prairie for a little while now, is going to be occupying that first HSA building. They've also got another 200,000 plus square foot building to the south of that Visual Pack building. And then just beginning the process of building a third building, again, along Highway U, on the east side of Highway U. And in fact, that third building is also going to be 450 plus thousand square feet. So certainly some exciting development in that area. And then west of Highway U, you'll see that we've begun pouring footings and building walls for another development that is coming to us with Janko, who has been a developer in Bristol for a long time now and been waiting to develop in Bristol for a long time. Janko does not have a tenant that's announced yet, but for right now, this is a spec building, and we suspect that they will have a tenant fairly soon once that building is finished. Then there's going to be more development even north of there. We've got commitments for additional lands, in fact, another 85 acres that are going to be made available for another development across the street from HSA. So certainly a tremendous amount of ongoing development in Bristol. We're certainly pleased to partner with Pleasant Prairie, the city, and the county when necessary for infrastructure purposes as it relates to all of the development that's going on in Bristol. So thank you to those entities. The county, in fact, is going to be doing some reconstruction of roadways in that area as well, just to accommodate what is probably going to be some increasing traffic and even some truck traffic in that area. So it's our pleasure to always work together with our local partners. The Village of Bristol is also in the process of updating our land use plan. In fact, you can see the old land use plan right behind Randy there in his screen. So we are we are in the process of working on the land use plan. We don't expect huge changes really in our land use plan, but we do have a requirement to go ahead and get that updated on a periodic basis. One of the other things that is going on in Bristol is development of housing. We do have some small subdivisions for residential purposes that are on the list, so to speak, or somewhere in process. And then finally, we certainly have some desire, at least, to consider senior housing projects in the village at various locations throughout the village. I want to talk just a little bit about our parks and recreation plan. We've had a long-term plan to try and expand our park and rec activity to the south of the current Hanson Park, which, as many of you know, is right in the middle of Bristol. And we own the land, but we need to have the money, if you will, to go ahead and continue the expansion of parks and recreation in that area. And then you saw an announcement today in the Kenosha News about tree planting. We have a huge commitment to trees, if you will. In fact, Bristol has been a Tree City USA for at least the last 10 years, and we certainly are committed to that. So that is the quick update for what's going on in the village of Bristol, and I'll ask if there are any questions about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And again, if there's any questions, please submit them in the chat, and then we'll get to them at the end of the 5 sessions that we have here. We look forward to all those things coming to fruition there in the village of Bristol, and exciting times for the city and for Pleasant Prairie and for Bristol. And I'm sure we'll hear more about Summers and then the entire county as we go on with our presentations. The next presentation is from Village of Summers Administrator, Jason Peters. Jason?
Morning, everybody. I'm going to try to share my screen here. Okay, so just give everybody a quick update of what's been happening in the Village of Summers. It's shaping up to be really probably the busiest year development-wise and infrastructure-wise that this village has ever seen. So to start off, we'll start off with some residential things happening in Summers. At 31 and E, we have the Hawthorne Apartments. It's 242 units of market rate apartments. We started working with these folks. They're called Ravine Park Partners. They're out of northern Chicago. Started working with them in 2018, and they should be getting occupancy for their last building here in probably the next couple of days. So like I said, market rate apartments, we're really happy with how they turned out. As you can see from the pictures, the one on the top there is their clubhouse, which is state of the art, and it's a really nice amenity for these folks. The middle there is a couple of what the buildings actually look like, and then as a part of this development, there was actually 3 commercial outlots, and one of them is now home to the Wisconsin Referral Veterinary Emergency Clinic that just received occupancy here in the last couple of months. So we're excited to have all these folks in town. Next is Pike Ridge Townhomes and Pike Ridge Senior Commons. So this is a site, the former Park Tavern site. This site sat vacant for very many years, and then Bear Development came to us with this project that has 80 units of senior housing and 16 townhome units. And Bear was able to do this with some help from WIDA. This project, the townhomes have actually been occupied for a while here, and the 80 units of senior living, they should be finishing up here real soon and have occupancy. And from what we hear from Bear, that these are almost, if they're not full already, rented up, they should be pretty quick. Next is it's called development called, which they're calling Summersville. This is a group, Cardinal Capital. This is located on E and EA right behind Summers Elementary. So they received conditional approval earlier this year. This will be a mix of duplexes, townhomes, and apartments. As you'll see, we've had a lot of apartments come into Summers, but we were happy with this one that they were able to include 14 duplexes. So we'll have 28 owner occupied units. This one also seems to be a theme that for apartment living like this or rental, that they really want a nice clubhouse to give their residents a place to go, a sense of community. So this will be a 9,000 square foot clubhouse with a pool, a fitness center, game rooms, all sorts of things. Our next development is called the Sanctuary at Pike Creek. This is 31 and L. So they also recently were granted conditional approval. This will be 330 units of single-story market rate multifamily. So this is a unique product in the area that we haven't really seen yet. So we're excited about this one. It's on an 88-acre site, but they're only going to use 68 acres of it. The remaining 20 will be used for a future commercial development that'll be developed by another partner. And again, this will also have a 9,000 square foot clubhouse, and this one will have both an indoor and an outdoor pool. Next, we'll move down to County Highway E, closer to the interstate. So the Pritzker Archives and Memorial Park is moving along. If you drive by, you'll see that they broke ground a while ago. They have almost all the footings and the basement area in, and they should be going vertical here in the next couple of weeks with their building permit. So this will be a 9,400 square foot archive gallery. What's amazing about this project is out of the 288 acres, they're only really using 7% of it. The rest will be all green space that'll be open to the community with walking paths and bike paths. And then eventually it'll include what they're calling the Midwest Firearms Education and Training Center, which is an indoor facility. It'll have the world's first Cold War memorial, and eventually they'll have commercial archive buildings for storage. So on the commercial side, Summers Market Center, down where our Walmart and Sam's Clubs are, has really been taken off. In 2020, Oak Fire Pizza was completed and opened during the pandemic, so they're also doing well. It's a 12,000 square foot restaurant, and their original location is Lake Geneva. If anybody hasn't been there yet, it's awesome. I go there about once a week. We also opened our Jiffy Lube open in 2021, and in 2021, we have approved a Taco Bell or a multi-tenant building that will be anchored by a Taco Bell. A Popeyes Louisiana Chicken was just approved by the board. Actually, next week, a Jersey Mike's will get their conditional use permit, so they'll open up in the same building where Starbucks, the nail place, and I'm blanking on what else is in there. And finally, we had another concept meeting with our planning commission for another multi-tenant building that'll be anchored by a high-end liquor store, a fast casual Mexican cuisine, similar to Chipotle, but this is a group out of, they're down south. So this will be the first time they come to the northern market. So we're excited about that one as well. And if you go down to E and 22nd Avenue, there was a parcel there that sat vacant for many years. And then we worked with Golden Oil, who also run the Kenosha Travel Plaza out on the I. So they're moving their corporate headquarters. They'll have a convenience store there that's anchored by an Amico service station, and it'll include a Subway, a Hunt's Brothers Pizza, and Chester's Chicken. That project is coming along very, very quickly, so they should be open here hopefully in midsummer. And then down on the I-2 or at Aston, the East Frontage Road, we'll the board conditionally approved a quick trip travel plaza. So this will be a 13,000 square foot quick trip travel center, convenience store. We'll have a car wash, outdoor dining area, and we'll have spaces for 105 spaces for trucks, sorry, excuse me. And this will also be a little unique. They're going to try to incorporate a little dog park. So for all the truckers and people traveling with their pets, they'll have a place to bring their dogs to take a break. And then on the infrastructure side, the village is also putting a lot of resources this year into redoing our infrastructure along Sheridan Road. So as we speak, we are replacing all the water mains from the side streets off of Sheridan Road from 6th Place all the way to 17th Street. And with this, we'll be repaving all the roads on these side streets. So it's about a $4.5 million project, and that's being funded by a safe drinking water loan through the DNR. At the same time, we're relining all the sewer mains and the service laterals on these streets. That's about a $5 million project. And this is being funded with a clean water loan from the DNR. And then as we speak as well, we've already completely rehabilitated one of our lift stations. That's our 11th Place lift station. And right now, Seawall, which is around KR and Sheridan Road, and 7th Street lift stations are being redone. And the picture on the bottom there is what the 7th Street lift station looks at this time. And then finally, as part of to bring the Pritzker project to fruition, we're bringing sewer and water to the I-94 corridor. This is being funded by a letter of credit, $14.5 million letter of credit from the Pritzker Group. So that project was awarded in January and is going on as we speak right now. So on the top picture here in the green is the route where water will be going. And the bottom picture here is where sewer will be going. So just based off of this project, we are getting a lot of calls. We have several, hopefully large commercial buildings that will be coming to the village very soon. And with all this sewer and water coming out here, it opens up about 1,000 acres of development. So as you can see, there is a lot going on, and I will be happy when 2021 is over. That's all I've got, Lou.
All right, thank you, Jason. That's very informative. Lots of things going on, as you said, and we look forward to all those things coming to fruition. It's an exciting time for the entire county and, of course, in the village of Summers. Wrapping up the presentations today will be Kenosha's own county executive, Jim Kreuser. Jim?
Well, good morning, and I want to thank the Chamber for the terrific work they do, and Lou for the many years you put in at the Chamber and really brought it up to a new high level. I want to thank you for your years of service, Lou, as you're retiring soon. So thank you. Applause to you. Your sponsor, John Bolt, is also retiring. And if those people haven't had the opportunity to go to his office, I can't believe it's been 5 years either. It's really a fabulous redevelopment in the old bank building, and it's just a Class A office and a top-notch operation that and John will be sorely missed in our community working there, but he'll still be around and be tapped to do things for Mike Farrell, I'm sure, out in Bristol. But every day, great things happen in Kenosha County and in county government. Our team has continued to accomplish great things in spite of all the challenges in the last 13 months. Staff across all of our departments were nimble, adjusting to working remotely, providing our services, many mandated, to our citizens in very innovative ways. They've done it while coordinating complex logistical plans, including the response to last year's civil unrest and the ongoing response to COVID-19. And they've done most of that without missing a beat. Our most vulnerable citizens have still received the services they need. Our aging department stepped up to volunteer to do the Meals on Wheels and be drivers and for on-site distribution of meals when they were a great shortage. Child support actually set a record last year, collecting $36.5 million for child support families. We continue to lead the region and the state when it comes to child protective services. And that is one of the most difficult jobs in our community, is when you have to take a child away from their parents because of a bad situation, abusive one way or another. But one of the best days in county government is when you case manage that and you get that family back together. That's a success story. And then we monitor that and hopefully nurture that so they can be a productive family in our community. If things go the other way, we've also been very aggressive in getting children adopted to a final home where they can be raised and out of foster care. And those are our internal champions, the people in foster care, as that pressure continues to increase in our community for people to take on children to be their foster children until they can find a haven of safety or return to their homes. At the county, our COVID-19 response has been very strong. Kenosha County Public Health is one of the first departments in the state to begin distributing COVID-19 vaccine at the end of last year. And our vaccination clinics have been logistically very good. First at the Job Center and now at the former Shopco, we've administered some 45,000 doses while earning widespread praise for their efficiency and the friendliness of the staff and the volunteers that we've had there. We're going to keep hammering out at our goal of getting 75% of herd immunity and get 75% of the population, getting those doses out into our community with a targeted approach on focusing on equity and making it available for everybody. I know we're going to be having 3 more open clinics this week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Check the website to get the exact times so that people who had a great difficulty using the online system can show up. So there may be a tad bit more of a wait, but people who were inhibited by that are now going to have free access to that. So I think, as Mike Farrell said, it's been quite hopping out here lately, and many of us, many people around us, I know Mike and the mayor and I remember 2008 and the Great Recession when it hit our community. Many people don't even remember it. They've moved beyond that. And you take a look at all the development of that's going on, in Bristol, Pleasant Prairie, Summers, the city, and farther west. It really wasn't like this 13 years ago. It's been fabulous. Infrastructure leads to economic development, leads to a lot of other good things, leads to jobs. And it's really been a fabulous period of time in Kenosha County. When you look at the construction in the orange barrels, there's going to be a lot of them out of County Trunk U in Bristol. There's going to be a lot of them on Highway 50. There already is a lot of them at Highway 50. There's going to be a number of them on County Trunk H in Pleasant Prairie. There's going to be on S, has orange barrels up and down County Trunk S from 31 to I-94. And the city next year is going to have them up and down K. Well, that is going to 4 lanes. So I think the point of all this is a good time to have that construction. And just vision 2 to 3 years from now, when these major arteries in our community are reconstructed or redone and widened, how we can hit full stride and high gear for our entire county and moving forward. I mean, some of this area, people feel a little choked off and, driving around barrels, but I'll tell you, a lot of those infrastructures, widening 50 to 6 lanes, County Trunk at Washington Road to 4 lanes, K to 4 lanes out to 94th Court. All those things are going to do nothing but add value and traffic flow for the business community, the citizens at large, and protective services that need to get to places. So I think we're ahead of the curve. You just have to drive south 30 minutes, not even 30 minutes, to see what happens on a Friday night, and everything's choked. The congestion just chokes everything off in Lake County. We're going to be able to keep traffic moving throughout our community in a safe and methodical way. Overall, the state of the county is very healthy. We went through this whole COVID-19 issue. Our sales tax numbers actually went up, not down. We had 4 or 5 record months. Obviously, driven through a lot of people doing home improvements and other things going on. And our AA rating was reaffirmed. We're at a positive reserve policy. It keeps us at AA plus, going on to AAA. 85.9 of our borrowed debt is going to be paid off through rapid amortization over 10 years. And we actually have overall indebtedness $24 million less than when I got in office in 2008. So I think the county is in a good financial stead. I am going to be working for the full next year through my term, and enjoy working with all the communities on this phone, and the chamber and many others on moving Kenosha County to be the best place it possibly can be to live, work, play, raise a family. And the clock is on, and I'll be done April next year. But until that time, there's a lot of work to do in our community, and a lot of orange barrels to be taken down and roads finished. And I'm just so proud of the team and the professionals we have online today, of how we've come of age as a community to really be hitting on all cylinders. Thank you, Lou, for hosting today, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Well, thank you, County Executive, and congratulations to you too, as you near your retirement. I'm not sure if you're going to retire or if you're just going to not be in public office and do something else, but whatever you do, I know it's going to be great. And thank you for everything that you've done for Kenosha County. And also thank you for your kind words at my retirement. Thank you to all the speakers. Very interesting things coming up. We can all surely say that it's a great day to be in Kenosha County. There's so many things going on in the city, in the villages, in the county. So we do have a few questions. There was a question, you can see it on your chat, from Lena Quinta. Just comments or a question about policing practices and the safety in the county and in the city and in the villages. Would any of you like to please address that question? I know that's a concern with all the stuff that's going on throughout the whole country.
Well, Lou, I can tell you that I know that we're all taking what's going on very seriously. The sheriff and the city and the county are both putting in body cams this year. We have our diversity policies are going to be continually worked on. Inward look and an outward look for county government. A lot of these legislative issues can be taken up with the legislative. I don't know what's going to get through Madison or what isn't, but I know local action is taking place at the county level, and it's a willing partnership, and we have a diversity task force set up, and it's been ongoing, and I'm just we're making progress every day. Our world was rocked again just a day ago, and it's unfortunate, but we were going to move forward, and we're going to move forward. And how do you move forward in a community? Continue to do your job as a public municipality, get the infrastructure, economic development. Most of society's woes are fixed with jobs, and we need to make sure that our job center continues to work to try to employ people, and continue to work on those inequities, and update sheriff's departments and law enforcement's policies, and make sure things are moving forward.
Thank you, County Executive. Anyone else would like to comment on that? I know it's a tough question.
Lou, I can just comment on the village's part, just the effort to continue to do community outreach, right? We want to be visible. We want to make sure that there's good communication happening between our police force and also our neighborhoods. We try to be present. I know that I and the police chiefs Montana, we've walked neighborhoods. We've tried to make sure that we're present in the community, and so I think that we're going to continue to see a social desire for greater connection and making sure that we're promoting inclusivity, and we're promoting efforts that continue to assist rather than creating barriers to entry, trying to make sure that we're helping everyone be able to rise. And I think Executive Kreuser said it well, that a lot of the problems can be solved with jobs, right? That we're access to jobs and access to financial opportunities. And so hopefully we can continue to work those angles too from a social equity standpoint. I think that will greatly relieve the pressures that we see sometimes on the public safety side. And one thing that I will say, I do want to thank the efforts of our police. I know that at least from Pleasant Prairie, they really do give their all. And sometimes they're not in good positions. They're not in good opportunities. And my mom always said, a pancake's awfully thin if it's one-sided. And we need to, work together is basically the theme that I would put forward.
Thank you, Nathan. Your mother is a wise person indeed. So anyone else?
I think that both Nathan and Jim covered it, but I think it is important for everyone to understand that people working together is the only solution that you're going to have. And the community needs to come together, make sure we work together. And that includes all parties, making sure that everyone understands and everyone feels that they're having a good opportunity and a fair opportunity. And I also want to, basically thank the police department and fire department and all the agencies that participated in keeping the community safe. And we do appreciate that. But again, part of this is going to be us reaching out and talking with people to work to solve our problems together.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate that. Any other comments on that? Otherwise, I have another question here. Regards to the county-wide Wi-Fi, any updates on the county-wide Wi-Fi?
Yes, under the stimulus bill, we're still trying to get clarity on it. It's as clear as fog many times when you ask the question to different people. Clearly, if we have an opportunity to expand broadband to villages and towns, the county is very interested in doing that. We could spend literally all of that money on that and not get the entire job done. But if we could get a backbone in to hit critical areas, the county is very interested in looking in that, and we're pursuing that right now. We just need more clarity as to how much we can spend on that, what keeps us in the lane, not, in that lane of eligibility, and what puts us outside of that lane. And that's currently what we're looking at every week as this unfolds, as this stimulus money comes back to every municipality in our county.
As far as the city goes, we've entered into a contract with a company called Sci-Fi, which they are going to be laying fiber throughout the city to every home. It'll be roughly about $140 million project that they're paying for. The city has no funds tied into it. And they will be starting in September, we believe, to start laying the fiber. And it'll provide 1 gig to every household and 10 gigs to every business. So that is in the process of starting for the city.
Okay, that's very good news. So Thank you again for tackling the questions here. Are there any other questions? That's all I see in the chat. I guess the presentations answered everybody's questions. So that's always good. What I have now is just a final thank you to Clark Dietz for sponsoring the event, to Mustafa and Emily, thank you very much, and your team at Clark Dietz, to Mayor John Antaramian and County Executive Jim Kreuser, Village of Pleasant Prairie Administrator Nathan Thiel, Bristol President Mike Farrell, and Summers Administrator Jason Peters. Thank you very much for your words, your information. I'm sure everybody appreciated that. I do want to just give a couple of quick chamber announcements to everybody. We have a networking event, a return as such to our Business After 5 format coming up at the Apis Hotel and Restaurant. That's in conjunction with Downtown Kenosha Inc. That's going to be on June 10th from 5 to 7. The Apis is a beautiful development in downtown Kenosha. We're going to be looking at doing not only, I think, within the hotel and the restaurant, but also up on their upper level. They have a bar that might be nice to look at and socialize at on the rooftop. So plan on coming on June 10th from 5 to 7 at the Apis Hotel and Restaurant with our friends from downtown Kenosha Inc. And then we're going to have the return of the Kenosha Expo. I know everybody's excited about that. It's our 30th year, I believe, coming up. That's going to be at the Kenosha YMCA grounds on Saturday, June 19th from 10 until 4. It's going to be outside because of COVID. Hopefully in 2022, we'll be able to get it back at Parkside and other in our usual event there. But a lot of our members say that they enjoy the expo and it's a big part of their revenue for the year. So we wanted to make sure that we do it again this year, albeit a little bit differently. So we're looking forward to those. Keep visiting the chamber website. We have lots of things going on. We continue to be busy both virtually and starting to get busy in person. Thank you for attending, and as always, have a great Kenosha County Day. Thank you.